Welcome to Lucky XDP. I'm DP.
I'm Lucky.
And we just watched a classic.
2014, The Babadook. Let's get right into it.
So, first we want to discuss about the fantastic acting skills of Essie Davis and Noah Wiseman, Noah Wiseman plays Sam and Essie Davis plays Amelia. Fantastic actors, just something completely different. This movie, honestly, I would honestly rate it a 8.5 out of 10. There were a lot of missed opportunities that they could have put into this movie, but otherwise the creepiness level was really there. I would say that my skin had a lot of goosebumps during a lot of creepy moments where you would see the Babadook climbing over the walls, or literally just standing in one specific spot. Personally, I think that they could have taken some pointers and some notes from the Conjuring movies where they would have had some perfect opportunities to put the Babadook in the background when the mom is being possessed. Otherwise, I think everything looked pretty well. Everything looked really well done. And I really do applaud this movie. It gave me goosebumps, and there were some moments, unfortunately, that took away from the fear factor for me. But outside of that, I think it was a good movie. It's been a while since I've been shaken to my core where I feel the goosebumps. I feel like I'm getting a little nervous and stuff. And Lucky here has seen where I get nervous. I start making noises. I start saying, oh no, all that jazz. But the last movie that made me feel that way was Smile. So for this movie to bring me back to those type of emotions, I'd say did a crazy good job at getting me back to a movie that could actually bring me back to my level of fears for certain horror movies.
Yeah, guys. So as DP said, phenomenal movie. I give this a 9.5 out of 10. This is personally one of my favorite horror movies that I've ever seen. I've gone back to it over and over the years. I think a large part of that is because of Jennifer Kent's beautiful work. If you don't know who Jennifer Kent is, she is the director of this film. I felt like the imagery that she was constantly using and the overall scope of this movie. If you guys don't know, this movie is all about grief and depression, postmortem depression. You know, after having a child, she lost her husband tragically on the way to have her child. There's a lot to unpack here that she was running away from for several years, six to 7 years to be exact, that Amelia was running away from. And it really struck me as a beautiful setting for this to take place in, where it was very compact. A lot of this movie obviously takes place in the home. They're cut off to a lot of the world. Amelia's sister doesn't want to talk to her anymore due to her son's behavioral issues. Kids bully Samuel in school. You even have, doctors saying that he needs to be on medication, and it really suffocates the movie. And I feel like this is what it needed, right? To pull off something that deals with depression and deals with grief and all of those negative emotions, you really have to put it in a setting that feels suffocating to people. I feel like The Babadook really pulled that off, and it's still one of the best horror movies to successfully pull it off. And to your point, DP, maybe one scene that really made me jump throughout this whole movie, but what it did really well is what I like to call time under tension. And you'll hear me say this throughout a lot of my horror videos. And what I mean by this is the tension was constantly there. Like you said, DP, constant goosebumps. You constantly felt like, okay, what's going to happen? Okay, what was that sound? What was this? A lot of that is the environment that they were able to build throughout this film with a very limited cast. I mean, it really circled around Amelia and Sam. She had this love interest for like half of the movie. He was gone. I mean, he was gone. The sister cut her off. There wasn't really much to go off of besides Amelia and Sam. And that's a lot to put on a child actor, to play Sam's part and to be this disgruntled child who's going through this very tough situation and doesn't understand how to deal with it. That's tough to really pull that out of a child actor. So for Sam's actor to be able to pull that off so successfully, and for Amelia to complement that so well as a struggling mother, I really feel like this compact movie is one of my favorites I've ever seen out of the horror genre, because it attacks things that are important to me, and it beautifully illustrates how somebody with depression or somebody that's going through a lot has to deal with. And it's all about not destroying those, but learning to live with them. And you'll see what we mean if you watch the movie. Go to Netflix. I promise you, if you are a horror fan, you will not be disappointed with this movie.
Small budget, but big impact, honestly. Like, the imagery was there, the metaphors were there, and almost a lot of foreshadowing too, which was pretty interesting as well.
A lot of foreshadowing.
Also, side note, right as the scary sequences were about to start, we heard something like drop over yonder, over there. That made us jump, so that was super fun. So lastly, we'll actually start to bring the focus to the main part of the movie, the Babadook itself, whatever it tends to be. I would say that it's very creepy. I love the way that they go about it, how he just kind of stands there, he floats. He is almost a mixture of Edward Scissorhands, Freddy Krueger, and almost a little bit of the Smile Demon / Pennywise. And when you see the mom possessed in the movie, definitely gave a little bit of a toned down version of the Evil Dead Rise mom. And it really gave me that creepy, really like well done, creepy ass vibe that we get from the Evil Dead Rise movie, where you're sitting there uncomfortable and it's unsettling, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and to your point, DP, I'm gonna bring this comparison that we're talking about to the Annabelle doll, because the same way that you can't get rid of Annabelle, it feels like you can't get rid of the book. Because if you don't know, the book is called Mr. Babadook, and it shows up on your doorstep or it shows up in your child's room, and you think it harmless. You're reading through it, and there's some unsettling things within there, but nothing that would absolutely stand out until the last page. The last page, she tried to burn it, it didn't work. The comparisons within this movie, I feel like they do a really good job of not stealing from other films, but simply adding and kind of doing their own thing within it. And I think you need that within the horror genre. It's refreshing, where it's not the same thing, but it is taking bits and pieces from different things, and you could definitely tell Smile took some things from the Babadook. In Scream 2022, they even shout out the Babadook in the beginning scene and the last scene of that film.
I still prefer the Babadook.
Like, this is a really good movie.
It is. It definitely is. I just believe that it could have done a little bit more with some sequences. They could have shown the Babadook a little more. I mean, you can only see a little bit of it at a time. You could barely see its face half the time, which I really think that they could have done a lot better. But aside from that, I think that the sequences that they decided to do were original. It builds up the intensity just like most other horror movies that have been coming out nowadays, which I can say I appreciate. Unlike Night Swim, we won't even talk about that one. But this movie was really good, and I definitely recommend it to any person who loves horror or wants to start horror movies altogether.
So, DP, the question arises after watching this film, does it need a sequel? Does the Babadook deserve a sequel?
I could see them doing it for a cash grab, but I don't think necessarily there needs to be a sequel, mainly because there's already peace within the household. The mom has control, the Babadook is pissed scared out of its mind about the mom threatening to kill the Babadook because of, that situation. So I think there's no need to do that.
See, I second that. I know a lot of controversy going around about people and fans wanting a second Babadook movie, but I feel like this movie was so beautifully done and the ending was so beautifully told, and the fact of you don't need to kill your inner demons. You need to learn to
deal with
coexist with them.
It'll always be
deal
there.
with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful way to end that story. I don't think you really need much more than that.
thinking from that perspective of mental health and everything, your demons are not really going to go away. You're still going to deal with them, but you figure out ways to cope with it. And I think I agree with Lucky on that one, where it's still going to be there. It's going to rear its ugly head, but once you have control of it, there's nothing it can do. So thus, doesn't really need.
And that's the most realistic way of handling it as well, right? Like, you're not going to be able to like shove a demon out of your door, right? It's more so you have to learn about what you can do to limit its power.
Exactly,
right?
Like depression. Well, that'll be all for our video today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you love horror, definitely check out this movie. It's a little bit of an oldie, but definitely worth a watch if you're trying to get deeper into the horror aspect of movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know in the comments, what was your favorite part of the Babadook? What did you take away from this movie? That's what I'm really interested to know, because a lot of people say a lot of different things. So I'm interested to know. Let us know down below what you felt coming out of this movie. And also, don't forget to de-stress,
progress,
and give your mind a rest. Till next time.
See you in the next one.